Okay, it's Saturday, I think. Romford Horror Festival. I'm here to talk about All This Time. Fantastic feature film we've got this year. Just before I introduce everyone, this film has got the following nominations this year. I'm going to embarrass you all, by the way. Best feature film, best cinematography, best screenplay, best ensemble, best director, best actor for Dan, best actress for Emily, and best editing. And then my pen ran out, but I think that's all of them. It's about 8 there, so you've all seen the film. I think it speaks for itself. It's wonderful. Can you just introduce yourselves and your role within the film production, please?
Yeah, hello. My name is Rob. I'm the writer-director, and thank you everyone for coming, by the way.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm the producer.
Hello, I'm Dan. I play Elias.
I'm Darcy, and I play the young girl.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. First question, obviously, for you, Rob. Where did this idea come from? Was there an image? Was there a particular line, or how did it first pop in there?
There was no kind of inception point where it just came together in its entirety. You know, we knew we wanted to shoot something related to time and in like a big mansion house. So it was just lots of long drives with Kate, coming up with ideas, throwing different ideas, listening to the right music, and then eventually it formed. If I go back to the original synopsis, it's very different. So it's just a long process, really. Yeah.
How long roughly did it take to write? How many drafts did you do?
Well, my process is that I get the synopsis down first,
Yeah.
which is I'm only working with a couple of pages to get the story right, but there'll have been countless drafts of that. That was probably over the course of a year, maybe a year and a half, and then before we even start writing the script. Script-wise, probably not that many drafts because we're so sure on the story back then.
Yeah. To me, it was such a unique story. I mean, this was my silly brain, but when I saw it, I thought Bram Stoker's Groundhog Day. That's what I liked.
That's how we're selling it. We're saying it's
that's
Groundhog
good.
Day meets Dracula. Yeah.
You can have that.
Thank you. I'll take that. Yeah, that's going on poster.
Kate, how do you? What's as a producer? What's your main on a? It's indie filmmaking. What's your kind of role? It's probably everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much everything. So I was ADing as well on set,
Okay.
and I think everyone wore a lot of hats.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone was really, really good at just mucking in.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. The way we shot it was, well, I don't know if anyone knows or anyone realised, and I hope nobody did, because if you don't, then we've done it well, but we actually shot in 2 big houses. The exterior shots were at a place called Allerton, and we filmed there for about 4 days. We got kind of all the big grand ballroom, the exteriors, Elias's office was there, and then we had a further 10 days in a place called Eden Castle, which was up north. They're both up north, and we were there for 10 days, and we actually stayed there as well. So it was a lot of fun, and hopefully the blend you didn't see, hopefully that came across, but that just allowed us to kind of film in such an impressive location. When we first went to see it, we were like, well, this isn't going to happen. But good connections, a lot persuading, and we made it happen. So it was a really well planned out, meticulously planned, and it was all thought through all the way through. So we had to be, because we only had 4 days, and we couldn't really
4
go
days
back.
shoot.
4 days inside the big grand house.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mainly because of budget.
Yeah.
But it all went quite well. So yeah, thankfully.
Yeah, certainly. Let's bring in the cast then. When do you come on board? Dan, do you want to start maybe? When do you come on board to get
When
the
did I
film?
come on board? I mean,
It's quite late.
quite
It was
late I
quite
think I
late,
came
yeah.
on board. It's through a wonderful actor called Joe Nelson who actually
Oh, we know Joe very well.
yeah, beautiful man, and he's actually
He is a
the
man.
reason,
Yeah,
he's the reason I got
bloody
the role,
handsome.
because I think Joe was lined up to play Elias first.
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I think he
We've
was.
never said
Joe,
that. That's an exclusive.
Yes, exclusive, and he's an incredible actor,
Yeah.
lovely guy. And I did a project with him out in Morocco called Colosseum, and that's where I got to know Joe. And then he just gave me a call and just said, listen, there's this role coming up, there's a really interesting script, really lovely team. and I'm thinking, I can't do it, but I'm thinking of you. Would you like meet with Rob? I think he gave you like a short list of myself and a few other chaps. And I luckily, got the role. Yeah, that's kind of came on quite late.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. Joe,
Yeah.
thanks, man. Such a lovely man.
We have one of these films every year here. He's lovely.
He's amazing.
Yeah. Darcy, when did you come on board then?
So I think it was during the summer of 2023, I think around sort of July, August. I was 18 at the time, I'm 20 now, so I kind of knew about it for a few months, did a self-tape, and then we had a meeting on Zoom, talked through everything, and the rest is history, I suppose.
How do you all kind of collaborate on set as a cast? Did you have much rehearsal time, or were you sort of thrown straight in?
I think there wasn't necessarily extensive rehearsing. There was just a lot of clear communication. We discussed it the night prior, did a quick rehearsal. A lot of my scenes were very repetitive, so fortunately there wasn't too much to do sort of physicality-wise. But yeah, I mean, there was just a very open conversation from the beginning, and everything was super clear, and we kind of bounced ideas off of each other sometimes. So it did feel very collaborative, but there was obviously a mutual respect for what was already there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the most beautiful thing about it was that we were able to just come in and just have an idea. Robert and Kate were very open to us, like making suggestions.
Right,
It wasn't like you were afraid to say. I think, like I've said before, I think all actors need to come to set, like, to a project with an idea. I think that's the whole basis of doing what we do, rather than just being a puppet. So, and Rob and Kate was so like welcoming for that. I mean, not every idea I had was any good. It's like that one's a bit shit, Dan.
Some of them made it.
But the point is, you're not afraid to say it. And when you get in that kind of environment, I think it's like you're allowed to flourish, and the whole team. There was no hierarchical system. Everyone, I think, because we lived on set. We lived there. It wasn't that you were like picked up and then you go to base camp and then you get traveled to set. Like we're living together and we're eating. At the end of the day, we all sat around a table and ate together. And your mum Cheryl was doing all the catering. It was just like a beautiful family where everyone just played their roles and we just caught some magic. Really thanks to Rob and Kate's kind of direction and amazing idea in the first place.
Again, for you two at the cast at the end, then, what was your most challenging moment on the shoot?
I'm going to expose myself.
If it's swinging, she can't swing.
No, okay.
Listen.
Whoa, now.
Listen, okay. All right, I think we need to calm. So, I should make it clear, I am an intelligent person.
Sure, I believe
But
you.
there's a particular point where I go, that's north, east, south.
Right.
And in my defence, I got up at 6 a.m, which is an unholy hour, in my defence.
I agree, yes.
And there are like 3 or 4 takes where I'm just pointing every which way but the right way. And so we had to keep on yelling, cut. And so I know that's not a very profound answer about going, it really didn't feel immersed into that moment. But honestly, that made me question my profession slightly, because I think people got a bit fed up, but we got it.
We got there in the end.
Very nearly dubbed it. I said I'll just do the voices.
We actually got another actor in. But I mean, in general, I had like a really great experience, and like I said, there was always very clear communication, a mutual understanding. So it felt quite simple for me, apart from that minor hiccup, which we were discussing.
I didn't know you can't swing, Darcy.
It's me pulling the swing when it's that thing. I've got a behind the scenes shot and I've got a little rope off it trying to pull her in time. So there you go.
And I think for me it was the kind of towards the climax of the movie that's the most challenging, without giving any spoilers away, that the build there, getting to those critical moments, the kind of understanding the relationship that Elias has to all the characters in the film. That was probably the most challenging, but also the most kind of rewarding aspect to the movie for me. Yeah.
Let's make a positive question. I want each one of you to tell me one scene or shot in there that you go, yeah, we absolutely nailed that.
I can straight
Yeah,
away
go
which
on,
one's
Kate,
my
you start
favourite.
first.
So it was actually Dan's first day on set, and it was the first shot, the first scene, and it was kind of in the montage at the end, you know, in A Happy Memory.
Okay.
And they were dancing, and Darcy was on the piano, and it was just absolute magic. Because you know, Dan was new to set, we were all kind of figuring everything out in that, and Bob called action, and it was just a lovely moment. I think because obviously the film's quite serious in some places, that was such a light-hearted moment, and it just kind of kick-started that day. And every time I look at that shot now, I just think that was magic.
Yeah.
It was just lovely. And we had other music on for atmospheric on set, so yeah, it was just really nice to see. And it was the first time that you and Emily, you and Rose had been together and performed together, and yeah, it just worked. It just really worked. It was great. Do you know, it's that pew moment. This is going to work.
Great. Lovely to hear.
I was going to say the same one, so I should have gone first. But another one is the kind of the showdown before the showdown. So at the dinner table, when the cameras are pushing in, and Dan kind of syncs up with Rose. That's one of my favourite moments, I think. Yeah.
How about you, Dan?
For me, I'm going to cheat a bit. It's the montages. That first montage, you know, with you and Emily Rose, and beautiful. And then that final montage with lots of answering questions. For me, along with the score, the Teo absolutely smashed.
Yeah,
I must
score
say,
is incredible.
it's incredible.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't want to come in with the cameras and stuff because I was like, that needs to play.
isn't it beautiful?
It's quite
He really
it's
did.
possible,
yeah, it is incredible. So for me, yeah, montages.
Ooh.
Don't say the swing.
Okay. I mean, I think for me it's tough because obviously, you know, lines repeat themselves. I would say the scene between Grace and I at the dinner table with that rise in tension. It's one of those things that I can't speak about it in a technical sense. It's just an energy, and I think oftentimes it's toughest to kind of not be too overdramatic. That's kind of how I've always auditioned in these really like intense scenes where I'm crying and my family's dead and so sometimes doing things in a subtle way is so much harder, and kind of relying on stillness. And that was actually something I was really nervous about. And particularly with another person, you don't know how they're going to be receptive to that. But it was just a really great moment where I felt really in sync with her. There wasn't necessarily too much direction or changes that were made. But yeah, it just felt like a really nice moment where there was sort of a mutual understanding about what the pacing and the beats should be like. And yeah, it just felt like a really seamless experience.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Was there any audience questions at this point? Yeah, put your hand, just give us a shout, please.
So firstly, I enjoyed the film, thank you. Daniel and Darcy, great performances, and I agree 100% with the score, that was great, and the effort you put into the locations, that really paid off, because they looked, fantastic. When I see a film like that, I'm always trying to figure out whether I should have figured it out early, when there's a big reveal at the end, and I didn't at all figure out that they were the kind of non-lucid gaze type thing.
Okay, that's good.
But the thing that I would have never figured out was the deer running the same way each day across the lawn. So I'm curious, at what point did that come into the story, and did you put it in to stop people like me trying to
Throw you
figure
off the
out
scent.
exactly and guaranteeing that I was going to think it was a reset of time rather than just an non-lucid gaze in between.
Well, the deer was just, the shot was pure luck. We were setting up for another shot. I think it was the one where she's kind of looking down and Darcy's collecting conkers in the grass. And Joe, the DP, saw the deer, and so he just shot it. And so we were going through in the edit, I was like, oh man, that looks good.
With the camera rather than a gun.
Oh yeah, with the camera, yeah. No deer were harmed. Yeah.
No deers were harmed.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the script, as
No.
an anchor for each day.
No, because I just wouldn't know how we would have got it. So I didn't even put it in thinking, because I don't like to use VFX and stuff. There's a fair bit of VFX in it, but hopefully it's VFX that you don't notice. And so I wouldn't have wanted to put it in and say, oh, we can get a VFX deer running, because I feel like that would just take you out of it. So it never even crossed my mind, especially on this budget level. It's just one of those things where we're like, yeah, no. So yeah, when we got the footage, I was like, we need to make that work, and yeah, I guess it does throw you off, but the kind of the answers at the end, it still works with the deer. It does throw you off, yeah. But we didn't necessarily want anyone to work out the full thing, because I think with films like that, when you work out everything and then it's revealed, there's almost something a little bit disappointing that you were ahead of the curve, and so that's why we put in stuff that hopefully people would work out, like the earlier twists with Grace, and then hopefully there's a bit of a rug pull afterwards, because I think that's the way to do it. Is you want to give the audience something to work out, so you feel like, yeah, I got that, and then there's something you didn't even see. That was what we were aiming for anyway.
Yeah. Well, it works because I don't think I've seen a film where the answer has been, oh, it was the days in between all the other regular days type thing.
All right. Bro, thank you. Cheers.
Anyone else? Pop your hand up. No. I was going to ask a question. Was there any films you had in mind, might have either influenced you directly or subconsciously?
Yeah, definitely. The Village was one, for just the general vibe of it. I absolutely loved that. Triangle, if anyone's seen that, which is a fairly low budget film, but I think it's kind of a cult classic one.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's on like a big ship, and it's very time loopy. That one as well. A Ghost Story, which isn't kind of that relevant to it, but it's the same vibe and the kind of emotion for it. So there was quite a lot that kind of went into it. The Others as well, actually. The Others was a big one, which I love that film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyone?
Nothing.
Last question from me. What are we all making next? What's your next project?
So Dan could start, because he's just popped over from Paris today, so you probably can't even talk about it, can you?
Yeah.
He will.
I'm working on a film with Mark Wahlberg at the moment in Paris.
Marky Mark.
So yeah, Marky Mark.
You didn't bring him with you?
I know.
In love, Romford.
The first time I saw him. Come on, Mark. Come beside me. Come on. Come to Romford, Mark. No, but I came straight from Paris today. It's been just a ridiculously stupid experience, and he's a very grounded guy. But the first time I met him, the first time I saw him was on a show called The Word back in the day. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he was on there, and it was him and Shabba Ranks, and it was the weirdest interview I've ever seen. And my son, I showed my son it, and he was like, "You got to ask him about Shabba Ranks." I was like, "I'm not asking Mark Wahlberg about Shabba Ranks." So that's what I'm working on.
Okay.
Yeah, no, all the way up to just the beginning of April, and I'm done.
You'll have to say anything apart from it's got Mark Wahlberg in it.
Yeah, it's actually a sequel. It's a sequel to The Family Plan, which is it was on Apple Skydance movie. I just play a French assassin called Jules. It's a lot of fun. A lot of running around Paris with a shotgun and things like that. It's really good. Blowing things up. Really good fun. Childhood dream.
Darcy, do you want to go next? What are you working on?
I'm working on myself.
Come on, Darcy.
And
talking about.
I'm doing really, really well at
And your
it.
swing technique.
Yeah.
Get his legs out and then tuck them in.
I've bought some new clothes. I got my nails done.
Someone's
No,
had a
you
glow
did.
up.
Look at those.
I
On
know.
fleek.
So really, I think out of all of us, I think we know.
Winners.
I mean, Mark Wahlberg, but me.
Yeah.
This
Just
is
as
the-
important to work on yourself.
Yes.
More important.
But congratulations on the Apple
Thanks,
TV and the
Cheers,
that's
mate.
great.
Yeah, so in regards to Relic Films, we're currently looking at a few ideas at the moment. One that may or might not involve Dan, if he's up for it.
I'm definitely up for it. Yeah.
We're in the really early stages at the moment, just getting kind of the synopsis down. I'm not sure how much Rob wants me to say about it, but I will pass the microphone over to him if he does. If he wants me to be quiet,
Good idea.
we'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, we're working on it, but we're in that stage, like I said with the first, with all this time.
Yeah.
is that we're working on the synopsis for a long time. So we'll be there for a few months, but it's a similar style, but very different story and very different. It's not going to be just the same film repackaged. It's a similar kind of atmosphere, I guess, to it, and a similar vibe, but very different. Yeah.
I think everyone agrees this film was absolutely incredible. As I said, I mean, I lost count how many nominations it's got. So congratulations. Thank you for coming, especially Dan for coming all the way from the other side of the channel this morning.
We came from Leeds, though, which is equally...
that is probably... probably quicker. Give our regards to Mark Wahlberg.
I will too. I'm not mentioning Shabba Ranks, though.
No. Have a round of applause, please, for our filmmakers.